Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name is Ray, the Market Trader. And before we get started, we'll need to run through our obligatory risk disclosure here, guys. So maybe change the angle here on this camera a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and see. Sorry about that, guys. Just kind of adjusting some camera here. All right. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at our risk disclosure. Okay. And we'll get started. Hey, Anthewil. Morning. All right. So I'm share my screen here. We're going to share my risk disclosure. Again, just want everyone that the content that's being published and distributed, hopefully that's visible, the content that's being published and distributed by the Market Trader and his affiliates is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offered to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. We all understand that that future trading does carry a fair amount of risk. It's not for every investor. Investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or Forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention to our financial news and see what the financial news has to say about all of this, or what we should be, preparing for before we get engaged market. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go ahead and change our screen here to the financial news. If we can locate it here. Try this one more time. There's the news. So there it is. Okay. All right. So not much, I would say not much in the way of news, I would say, that could potentially impact the markets here today. To be honest, we have what appears to be OPEC, some sort of OPEC monthly report that's either has already been, OPEC monthly report coming in, or has already reported here in the last, I guess, coming up on half hour now, a little over half hour. And then we have a Fed member, Paulson, speaking at later this afternoon, early morning. So really, as far as news goes today, really nothing in the way that could potentially impact the markets. I see that we gotten maybe a little bit of a recovery from Friday sell-off at the start of the session here. As we look ahead into the week, we have a fair amount of earnings, bank earnings, that'll be happening over the course. So we're starting earnings again. And then, so we have, let's see, tomorrow, I'm trying to see if we have the Global Finance Stability Report, World Economic Outlook report that could have some impact in the markets. And then later in the week, we have, the Philly U.S. retail sales, the Philly Fed Business Index, obviously the EIA for those crude oil traders, and that's pretty much it. Okay. Relatively, again, outside of the fact that we have earnings, a number of earnings calls throughout the week, I don't see anything here overly concerning with respect to news here. Okay. All right, let's go ahead now that we've gotten through the news here. We'll go ahead. Morning, Dirk. We're going to go ahead and turn our attention to the platform here, trading platform, and see what context we can glean from the markets to support our ability and trade opportunities that present themselves today. Okay, so let's go ahead and start in with the gold. Okay, Gold chart. Let's see. Oh, start with the gold. All right. So gold continues to show some strength. Okay. Again, we're developing yet another daily candle here to the upside above our 9 EMA here, indicating that there's still a fair amount of strength here to the upside in this market. Okay. Nothing here indicating that there's any loss of momentum. Okay. Looking at the volume delta bar, we're still getting an excess of buy orders over sell orders to the tune of close to 18,000. Okay. 19,000 more buy market orders than there are sell market orders. Okay. So another indication that there's fair amount of momentum here to the upside, and volume seems to be aligned with the general direction of the market. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour chart. We'll take a look at the 4-hour chart, see what kind of zoom in on these candles, these daily candles here. You can see that price is above our value range, indicating that we are in some sort of trend. We are above our VWAP, again, above our 9 EMA, and we continue to develop structure to the upside, right? Creating higher highs and higher lows, right? Most recently, we got above this 40,073.20 level. This area is going to be, I know that we're up at this almost 4,100 level at this point, but this is going to be a level that I'm going to identify, right? Because often price will come and retest prior levels of resistance, in this case, for maybe some opportunities to the upside. Okay. So that's kind of what I'm seeing on the 4-hour. 4-hour, again, not giving us much indication other than the fact that we're getting a little bit of maybe a little bit of an indecisive candle here. We got wicks on both ends of this 4-hour candle. So it's certainly not the strongest of the candles to the upside. So maybe we are getting ahead of the New York session, a little bit of indecision here. But nonetheless, price remains above some of these indicators that we care about, right? We're above our volume profile here on the right-hand side, right? Price is above value, price above our VWAP, and price above our 9 EMA, all indicating that maybe there's still some further upside opportunities in this market. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the 30-minute chart. All right, 30-minute chart, I would say maybe grinding to the upside here a little bit. We're seeing a lot in the way of overlapping candles here, right? On the 30-minute, we're kind of hugging the 9 EMA, okay, to such a degree that maybe price wants to come back maybe and retest, say 40,000 or 4,080. Okay, it feels like, okay, we are a bit extended. We are a bit extended here to the upside, okay, and so the fact that we are extended, it feels like maybe given the kind of price action we're seeing, we're not seeing, price action that would indicate there's a lot of, a lot of current, momentum to the upside at the moment. Okay. We look at our volume delta bar on the 30-minute chart. We can see that we're getting more sell orders than buy orders at this point, and the price candle that's developing is aligned with that. Okay. We're not getting a bearish candle with bullish volume or bullish candle with bearish volume, right? It's aligned, right? So we're getting sell volume, and that's translating into a sell candle. Okay, so price is aligned with volume at the moment. Okay, all right. So let's take a look at our fixed range volume profile. Let's see what the fixed range volume profile from Friday, and compare that with where price is today. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and drag this across. I suspect it's probably going to be above, and sure enough, it is. Okay, so right here, right, looking at the value range, you can see again that price is above our value range from Friday, indicating that there's obviously a fair amount of interest in this market to the upside. Again, I know that this level is way below the market, but I assume that this level at some point is going to serve as an area of some sort of support. There's probably some intermediate levels here that will probably serve as support far before this level. Okay, we have the VWAP, and we have this prior area of resistance turning support. Okay, so I would say this area here around 4,080. Okay, this area right here, 4,080, would be a kind of a relatively nice area to maybe look for maybe a continuation in price. So kind of what I'm looking for is for the market to give me a little bit of a pullback, right? Give me a little bit of a pullback. Doesn't have to, all right, but to give me a little bit of a pullback and then offer me maybe an opportunity here around 4,080 for a continuation move here to the upside. Okay. So entering the session, I would say that again, probably bullish to range is the operative here. Okay. I've seen a lot of overlapping candles here at the moment on the highs, which always caused me a little bit of concern when we have overlapping candles up at the highs. That indicates that maybe the buyers are losing a few of the participants in our auction, that there's not as much interest here at 4,100 to continue to drive price higher, which could translate to maybe a move lower here, right? And move lower, and we could move down to 4,080 and still be in somewhat bullish structure here, right? So we're not losing all that much, and the fact is that we are a little bit extended here to the upside at the moment. So, like I said, I think right now I would say bullish to range kind of is the kind of price action I'm seeing right now. I think I'm going to go ahead and take a look here at the initial balance ranges here and see what insights I can pull from that. So we'll see if I can open up my initial balance. All right, for Asia to start, let's start with Asia, and then we'll work our way to today. Right now, I should say. Okay, so we got a nice extension, relatively nice extension here. Pretty wide, I would say, relatively wide initial balance range, honestly, for Asia. Okay, and we got an extension, not quite to the 100%. Okay, actually, it's more kind of like maybe 75% extension of this initial range. But nonetheless, the extension was to the bullish side, right? We got a nice extension, a pullback to the 9 EMA, and we've kind of embraced the 9 EMA since. All right, so taking a look at the let's see, the London session, just kind of continuing to evaluate this. Again, we got an extension. All right, we got an extension, but not all that impressive with the price action after the extension. When I get an extension like this, I expect price to certainly has the potential of coming back to the initial balance high. But I would expect that there would be, if I'm going to be in a momentum trade, I need momentum to come in the direction of my trade, all right, in order to support it. Right now, I'm not seeing that. Okay, and if anything, what I'm seeing is that maybe price wants to come back down. Okay, wants to come back down to this area that I'm talking about here. Right now, we haven't gotten that confirmation. Price still technically remains above the initial balance high from London. Okay, but we're not moving away from initial balance with any sort of volume, and if anything, we're getting volume to the sell side. Okay, so I would say it would not be out of the realm of possibility here. And even though we are still in this kind of bullish price action, momentum has kind of waned here a little bit. It would be interesting to see if we do get a close back inside this initial balance range, then that would give me maybe further evidence that maybe we are going to maybe pull back here a little bit before we maybe continue with our way to the upside. Okay, right now I think the market is looking for some buyers. Okay, market is looking for some new participation up at these levels, and right now I have to say it doesn't appear that the buyers are overly aggressive at this point. Okay, and for reason. All right, I don't think it's at the highs you would find a lot of buyers. I think once we get back down to this 40,080 level, maybe as high as 4,085, then maybe we get some more aggressive buyers. But right now, it seems like the sellers are beginning to maybe put in a little bit of a foothold. It'll be interesting to see how this current candle closes and whether it closes back inside the initial balance range for London. That would kind of maybe give me some more evidence that maybe the market is going to rotate here a little bit. Okay. All right. Hey, Aslan. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the crude oil market. Crude oil market has been a market that's really not shown all that much strength. Okay, to be honest, it's been a market that continues to have a lot of downside pressure. Okay, you can see that my line that I've had here for some time since July, okay, has been to the downside, and I would say that we need to continue looking at that downside until we start to see some breaks of structure here back above some of these levels. Okay, Right now, as you can see, that the daily chart is giving us some indications that there's still a lot of bearish pressure to the downside in this market. Really not seeing all that much interest at the moment in the bullish side. And honestly, I really don't see any reason now that we've gotten to these targets down below that the market does not reach 56. Okay, at some point, right? I'm not necessarily predicting that today, but I don't see any reason why price will not get to 56 before we see any sort of maybe reversal in price. Okay, 56 is kind of my line in the sand here. Okay, right about here. This is, I would expect to be supportive. Why? Because I look to the left and I see that this has been an area of support here in the past. Okay, and now that we are in such close proximity to it, it feels like it's just a matter of time before we'll get there. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and move on to our 4-hour chart. Looking at our 4-hour chart, we'll turn off initial balance here for a moment if I can. All right, we'll turn off initial balance, just kind of get a sense, kind of zoom in on these 4-hour candles. As yet again, okay, what are we developing? We're developing a bearish engulfing candle on the 4-hour chart below our 9 EMA, below our VWAP. What is that telling us? Well, it's telling us, for me at least, that there's still some opportunity here to the downside in this market, right? We're price structure still is offering us or indicating to us that there's still some bearish momentum in this market. All right. Moving on to the 30-minute chart. Okay, looking at the 30-minute chart again, you can see the kind of the zooming in on these 4-hour candles. You can see that price has managed to get below our 9 EMA and VWAP. It was, I would say, in some sort of range. It looks like it was some sort of range here during the both Asia and London sessions. Like we got into some sort of range, but now there were about, I don't know, 10 minutes away from the open of the market here. You can see that price has managed to close below. Okay, managed to close below the 9 EMA. Now the question is, are we going to get a little bit of follow through, and then maybe that would lead us back down to maybe 58 or below. Okay, so 4-hour again, still kind of very much aligned with what we're seeing in the daily chart. Again, there is a little bit of a development here on the bullish side, but as long as price remains below my 9 and below my VWAP, my view remains bearish. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Actually, I was talking 30-minute chart, guys. I may have misspoken here. This is 30-minute charts, 30-minute candles. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 straight hour and a half worth of candles that have been bearish, has closed below some support, which could be resistance on the way back up. I would expect this 60 level here, right? 60 would be kind of maybe a line in the sand that could offer us maybe a continuation move here to the downside. You know, something along these kind of lines is kind of what I'm looking at right now. Something where maybe we could get maybe a potential rally up to that level, only for price to continue to the downside. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the fixed range volume profile. I suspect that we're probably below levels, but we'll double confirm that here. Okay, so there's the start of the session into the close of Friday session, and we are inside value. All right, inside value. Unable to get above, right? No one's willing. Okay, basically what they were saying is nobody's willing to pay a premium, okay, for an upside move. All right, nobody's interested in that. Right, there was no buyers here. We got above an area of value on Friday, met with sellers. Okay, nobody's interested in buying crude oil above 60 at the moment. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at the initial balance ranges. I suspect it's probably pretty rangy, but we'll confirm. All right, so here we are, Asia. Okay, pretty much in range, right? We made an attempt to get above, but this is more London, right? We made an attempt. Well, actually, we did make an attempt here. We did make an attempt to get above, only above value from Friday, met with sellers, and we rotated back down to VWAP. What's interesting is that they weren't able to take it all the way down before they found some buyers. So there are some buyers that might be lurking in this market. But then London came in. All right, London came in. London opened, and we got a little bit of an extension above. They peaked above, and again found some sellers. Okay, now we're peaking below initial balance. Okay, peaking below the initial balance here, and retesting IB low from London, again giving us an indication that there's still some downside opportunity into this market. Okay, so which indicator do you use? That rainbow like band? Rainbow like band. Rainbow like band. Aslan, I'm not sure I follow. Rainbow like band. So let me call out what I have. Okay, I have the 90 MA in gold, VWAP in blue. This yellow is the initial balance. This down here is volume delta. And that's it. I don't see the rainbow. I mean, I really don't see anything else. Okay, right? So we have 90 MA in gold. 90 MA in gold. This is volume delta. This is volume delta down here, green and red. Okay. This is telling me how many, between market sell orders and market buy orders, who has more, right? Well, right now we're seeing more market buy orders net than market sell orders more than market buy orders. Okay. So this is volume delta here on the bottom. Okay. Hopefully I've answered your question. Okay. All right. So headed into the markets, VWAP bands. I don't see anything. Possibly. I guess I'm not seeing what you're seeing. Let's see, make sure I don't have anything show record. Okay, maybe let me go ahead and turn this off here. Possibly bands, maybe that's what you're seeing. Okay. You always seem to do such an amazing job translating the candles into a story. The price action is telling us. I've been constantly confusing myself lately, maybe too much data in my mind. Yeah, I think that's kind of what we need to do, right? As analysts, as traders, as risk managers, that's what we need to do. We need to translate a story with the price candles that we're seeing. And right now the price candles are indicating to us that it's struggling to get to the upside, right? And we're getting some indications that candles closing below and things of that nature, we're still getting some indication. I know I have a lot of arrows here, guys, but hopefully I'm getting my point across here. But the idea is that, candles, we've made an attempt to go higher, failed. We rotated back through the initial balance range, closed below it, and price is now struggling to get back above it. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. So maybe what you're seeing is maybe sort of a background image of maybe volume of VWAP here. If I turn this off, yeah, maybe that's what it is. It's maybe a little bit of a background image of VWAP. But the main thing that I'm looking at on VWAP is this main line. So these bands might be just standard deviation bands that you're seeing. Okay. These are just standard deviation bands that you're seeing. And I kind of try to disable them. Okay. All right. Okay. So headed into the session, guys, I would have to say that I remain bearish in the crude oil market, and that we need to continue to look for opportunities to the downside. It won't be of any interest for me to the bullish side. We'll probably be around this 58 level. Honestly, I really don't see anything in here that would indicate to me that I should be looking for anything other than bearish trades. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead now. Let's take a peek here. Maybe. Good morning. Good morning, Alejandro. Okay. Let's before I move on to the equity markets here, guys, I just want to kind of again continue to make my plug for myself here. Yeah, pay your like tax. Okay. Yes, pay your like tax on my way to my the room here. If you can hit the likes, if you're not already a subscriber, subscribe. If you haven't, set up a notification bell on when I become available live, do that. And then leaving a comment or two is always quite helpful as well. Okay. All right. So now that I've gotten through that, let's go ahead and move on to our equities, which I know everybody wants to understand. Okay. So let's start off with the daily chart here. Okay. Daily chart. We got an inside candle. Okay. Inside candle today. We're going to remove some of our drawings. All right. So I think a lot of alarms set off. Okay. Here with this candle here, right? Large, relatively, what is it, 2%, 2% move. I don't know, 1% move. I don't know. This is relatively large move that's broken some structure here to the downside, right? Now the question becomes, now we have an inside candle. Okay, inside candle indicates that we are going to be testing the extremes here at some point. I suspect. All right. So it's either going to here or here. We're going to test it at some point, right? Inside candle. We're not making new lows and we're not making new highs at the moment. So I suspect that we will be testing the highs and lows of this prior candle. Okay. Let's see. Did it gap up? We'll have to take a look at that maybe with a. Let's see. Right now, daily chart. Again, inside candle. First indication, I would say that maybe we've broken some structure here to the downside, and not in a very light way, right? So whatever news event that happened during the Friday session, whether it was some communication that came from President on with his relationship with China, whatever it is, right? Okay, yeah, 1.68. I was going to say about 2%, right? 2%, a little bit of a 2% correction. Yeah. So President on China tariffs. Okay. So anytime he makes mention of putting some tariffs on China, market doesn't like hearing that. Okay. Market does not like hearing that. All right. So let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. Okay. Again, let's turn off this here, and let's turn off initial balance. Looks like I have multiple on here. Let's see. Another initial balance. Let's get those out of the way. Okay, so two solid candles to the downside. Okay, we've gotten an inside candle. We opened the Sunday with a positive candle, and now we have a lot of indecision. Okay, a lot of indecisive candles, but still above, right? Still above our VWAP and below our 9 EMA. So a little bit of mixed. Okay, mixed information here. Do we follow the path that maybe that this swing gave us? Okay, do we want to follow this path, or is this maybe going to be maybe a little bit of a recovery day today? Right, we got an open, right, well above the close. Okay, so kind of gapped up, right, and now we haven't been able to get back inside this candle without finding some more buyers at the moment. Now, price has yet to break and close above our 9 EMA. Okay, obviously this 22,400 level remains a level of resistance. Okay, this is a level of resistance, right? Now the question now becomes is, are we going to rally to that level and remain in some sort of range, or maybe potentially go higher? Or the same folks that brought price lower, are they going to step in? Are they going to step in any in this area here, right? This would be a ripe area, right? If I were to do a little bit of a retracement on this swing, right? And if I'm of the opinion that the market can continue lower, well, we're at the 0.618 retracement of this swing, okay? Right? 0.618% retracement. If we are indeed going to head lower, this would not be a bad place for that to happen, okay? The higher we go, the weaker the sellers become, right? So another location could be this 0.786. But generally, if sellers are strong, then these levels, 0.618, 0.50, 0.38, generally are the levels where they reverse price, or I should say, price continues in that direction. So we'll have to see how this 4-hour candle develops over time. but we're at an interesting level here at the 0.618 retracement of this current swing. So let's take a look at the 30-minute chart and see what we can glean off the 30-minute chart. Okay, so we're getting some indications, right? Some indications that maybe there's some bullish participation in this market, right? We're getting a bullish candle here. We got a gap, right? Someone was talking about gap. Well, there it is, right? There's our gap up, right? Now, obviously, we all know that gaps eventually get filled, right? Okay, the gaps eventually get filled, right? So this gap will eventually get filled at some point, whether it happens today or some future date. We'll have to wait and see. But we are seeing or the beginnings of maybe it's a repair day. Maybe we're repairing some of the sell-off, right? Yeah, definitely, Aslan. I would say that we don't necessarily want to over leverage, right? These markets, because yes, they can definitely bite. Okay. All right. So in any case, we're getting some indication on the bullish candle here. We're seeing price. We're seeing a little relatively flat VWAP and 9 EMA. Okay. Right. Relatively flat 9 EMA. So again, kind of giving us maybe an indication that we are going to be in some sort of range today. Okay. We are seeing some bullish price action at the moment. I would say that this level here around, let's say 29,940 will be an interesting level to see if we're able to manage to break above that. That could, again, create some price structure to indicate that maybe we come back and revisit some of these highs potentially from Friday, right? If we can get above this 29,000 or 24,940 level, that would create a new high, and that would maybe give us some momentum to maybe reach 25,100. That would be the 0.786 of this swing, and then ultimately the highs here around 25,400. Okay. So again, a little bit of a mixed bag here. I mean, like I said, the 4 hour is going to be kind of my guide here. Seeing a little bit of indecision on the 4 hour with respect to which direction they want to take this market. So I'm gonna remain patient. Okay, I'm gonna take a look here at initial balance. I suspect that we got some participation here on London and Asia to the upside here. Okay, so looking at Asia. Okay, Asia was for the most part in range. Okay, Asia for the most part in range. And then at the start of London actually took the market higher. Okay, took the market higher and found some sellers. Okay, so I wouldn't say that we're necessarily out of the woods with respect to the sellers, and we may be in the beginning stages of maybe a little bit of more selling. Okay, but nonetheless, we got price to close below. It didn't really extend all that much to the downside before it found some buyers, and quite frankly, it looks like it even created a little bit of a demand zone here, right? You got a little bit of a demand zone right around 24,007. Let's call it 24,790. Okay, a little bit of a demand here at 24,790. Price is trying to make its way above this 24,875, right? 24,880. If it's successful at that, I don't see any reason why we don't reach 24,940. Okay, that would be kind of a classic, I would say, rotation trade, right? Rotating through initial balance, right? So in any case, guys, a little bit of a mixed bag. Against, like I said, there's some evidence of obviously bearish price action that we've seen on the higher time frames. I would say a little bit more bullish on the lower time frames. I'm seeing that price is closing back inside, has the potential of closing back inside the initial balance range, which could translate in a full rotation, okay, of the market, and could remain in range right? It could remain in range until there's some other news events here, right? Right now we have relatively flat VWAP, relatively flat 9 EMA. We have a bullish engulfing candle that is developing here before the market here. Okay, so yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what price does as we approach 24,950. Okay, if we do get maybe a little bit of a 3-bar reversal pattern, and maybe for a continuation. Otherwise, there's always the potential that this could be a little bit of a repair day, right? We're going to fill in maybe some of this section here with some transactions here and kind of normalize this kind of profile that we have here on the right hand side. Okay, so I would say I'm going to call it neutral. Okay, neutral on the NQ. Maybe if we get a break above this 940 level and hold, and then maybe I will turn my view to maybe bullish up until 25,400. Otherwise, I think the best path forward or best view of this is probably a tad on the neutral side. Okay, neutral. I would say neutral to bullish. Okay, given the fact that we are above the 9 EMA and the VWAP, I'd like to see maybe some more evidence. Okay, with maybe an initial balance extension, maybe a 15-minute candle open green or something along those lines to really kind of embrace maybe the bulls here. Okay, but I do feel that maybe this is going to be a little bit of a repair day today, guys. I think they're going to try to repair some of the damage that was done with the announcement on potential new tariffs on China today, unless there's yet another tweet on potentially adding some tariffs that could cause the market to continue to the downside. So that's kind of what I'm seeing on the NASDAQ. Let's go ahead and turn our attention to the ES here. Okay, and see if the ES is behaving any differently than the NASDAQ. Again, we have yet another bearish candle, now bullish candle here. Okay, bullish candle, inside candle below our 9 EMA. Okay, so higher time frame, maybe the beginnings of maybe some bearish kind of activity, right? Sellers probably don't want to see this current candle, close anywhere above, say, 50% of the body here. Okay, that would be signs of seller weakness. Okay, but nonetheless, right now, price remains below our 9 EMA, not quite below our VWAP at the moment. Okay, so let's take a look at our 4-hour chart, see what 4-hour chart has to say. Again, a little bit of an indecision candle on both sides, right? We have wicks above, okay, here and below, right? We have price below 9 EMA, price above the VWAP. Okay, so which one is it? Is it going to be a continuation move to the downside, or is it going to be kind of a repair day and basically maybe we fill in some of the lack of volume that was generated in this area here, right? Before we decide that maybe we make another attempt at the lows. Okay, so interesting time right now. We're in the middle of the range, really not an area that I'd like to be a part of. Would like to maybe focus my attention on the edges. If I'm a seller, let me be a seller up at these levels. If I'm a buyer, well, let me be a buyer lower, maybe as close to the open of this as I can. And understand that, the extent of this may just be limited to this range that's been established, right? So I can't expect too much more than the range here, say from 65.46 all the way to 6,800. That's kind of the range that I'm seeing at the moment. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the 30-minute chart. Let's see what the initial balance and from the other sessions tell us. So again, similar to the NASDAQ, we are developing a bullish candle. If I were to draw my channels here, maybe we are starting to develop a little bit of some structure here that would indicate that maybe price heads higher. But honestly, I need to see price close back inside the initial balance range from London minimally to at least entertain a possibility of an execution that would maybe rotate all the way up to the highs. Okay, 6,700, 6,705 could be an area where we could see maybe the sellers kind of return to this market. Okay, they've done that already once here, right? We opened up the range here during London, got up to the 6,700 level, and they said, nope, no, I'm not really interested in any further upside on this market, and they sold off. Okay, now the question becomes, if we are indeed in a range, right, then 6,700 or 6,705 is probably going to present maybe an opportunity for maybe a sell. Okay, if we get above 6,700 and hold, then maybe we have an opportunity to maybe revisit some of these highs here. Okay. But the first order of business is that we need to get above 6,700 to get out of to begin that path. Okay, let's take a look at the Asia range. We just kind of glommed onto London here because of what we were seeing. Again, similar to what we were seeing in the Nasdaq, we were in somewhat a lot of range up until the open of the London session. We found some buyers that took it up to about the 75, actually a 150% extension of the Asia range, and then found some sellers. We rotated all the way through, and we found some buyers here down at 6660. Okay, 6660 seems to be kind of the bottom end of the range, 6800 being the top end of the range. And now we're beginning to maybe show some signs that maybe the market wants to head higher. Okay, so similar kind of thing. Right now we're in the middle of this bell curve where all the volume is being transacted. Really not overly excited to participate in any direction here. Honestly, we're kind of in the middle of the range. So I'm going to have to wait for some maybe additional, kind of evidence as to where they want to take the market. We're starting to see some signs that maybe that there are market participants to take the market higher, but I'm a little leery as long as we stay, kind of below this 6,700 level. I'm kind of a little bit leery that maybe sellers could potentially step back into this market and drive price lower. Okay. If we do manage to close above 6,700 and hold, then maybe we make another attempt at the highs here and repair, some of the single prints that we created here on the way down. Okay. All right. So I would say similar kind of view that I have in the NASDAQ also applies to the ES. I would say that I'm more neutral. Okay. Neutral here in this market, and that I need some more evidence as to which direction they want to take this. I'm beginning to see some evidence that maybe they want to take this higher, but I'm again a little bit leery on the 6,700 level. I see that 6,700 level could be an area of some resistance, and probably might be even better served in waiting for that level to break if I'm bullish, and hold before entertaining anything to the bullish side. Okay. All right. Let's take a peek here before we kind of review all the markets here. We'll take a peek here at the Dow here. Okay, similar kind of price action we are seeing. Another inside candle up against an area of what would be support. So another inside candle. Price is below our 9 and below our I think VWAP here. Inside candles. So I would expect that we would again test the edges of this market at some point during the session. All right. Maybe we continue to hang out in this area right here and fill in this volume profile would appear. So it was almost maybe a beginning, so maybe some double distribution. Still quite a bit of volume here on the lower end of the market. Okay. So that might be somewhat attractive to price to head to. Okay. We'll have to see. Moving on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, again, similar to what we were seeing in the other markets, right? Price is kind of in this odd zone here. We are reacting to some degree off of the 9 EMA, which could lead us to maybe further downside price action. Okay. Also, it looks like we are currently below the developing below VWAP. Okay. So the question now becomes, does this bearish candle close as an engulfing? If so, then maybe we have a path. Yeah, no one wants to be whale food today. Correct. Right. Okay. So maybe if we do close with a bearish candle, maybe that's an indication that they want to take this market lower. Okay. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. Again, a little bit of a mixed bag here. Right. We have, again, right up against the high point of volume. So there we have an even number of transactions here on both sides, right? Now you can see here there's a little bit of a divergence, right? We're seeing a little bit of divergence with the type of candle we have and the volume that we're getting, right? So we're getting a fair amount of volume to the sell side, but that's not really translating to price, right? So whatever price move, whatever volume that's coming in on the sell side that seems to be getting absorbed. Okay, it seems to be getting absorbed at the moment, and that's what's causing this wick. So is that an indication that maybe that's going to create some momentum to the upside? We'll have to wait and see. Okay, let's take a look at the initial balance here, and we're going to go ahead and open up. Why is that not behaving the way I expect? Let's open up the regular session, Tokyo session, Asia session here. Okay, so we got a little bit of an extension. I would say maybe a little bit of strength here on the Asia side, right? We got above the initial balance range and held above the initial balance range. London opened and drove price to the 200% extension of the initial balance range developed in Asia. Okay. Right. So now London, okay, London is kind of offering us maybe some indication, right? Right now we're below VWAP, I mean below, not VWAP, we're below initial balance. Okay. So this would be a reasonable area for a continuation move to the downside. What I don't like is that the candle that's forming, right? I see a candle that's showing me that maybe there is a little bit of demand. We have a volume delta bar that's red and a candle that's kind of showing maybe a reverse, kind of a hammer candle back to the upside. So right now, a little bit mixed. Again, I'm going to be tracking this maybe with my, my channel here. And if I get maybe a close back inside, right, a close back inside with some volume in the opposite way, then maybe I could expect maybe a rotation through this a London range back to the highs of 46,265. But similar to the Nasdaq, I'm gonna stick to my kind of neutral my neutral bias here. We've seen kind of price action in both directions. If we do start to see some evidence of maybe pricing closing back in, as I mentioned, maybe there's an opportunity to take a bullish trade back to the highs here. Okay. If it can't close above this initial balance low at 46,125, then I would say that maybe there is an opportunity for maybe a continuation move to the downside. But does seem to be something in the way of maybe some buying taking place here at the moment. All right, let's go ahead and review across all the markets here, guys. Again, we're seeing some signs of some bullish price action. Again, continued bullish price action in the gold. Right, we have this is our London range. Let's go ahead and open up our regular session here. Okay, so again, we're inside the range, relatively normal range. We're getting some indication that there are still some interest here on the buy side with some wicks up above. Okay, so we'll have to wait and see which direction they end up taking this market and seeing how well this current 30-minute candle. Let's take a peek at the 15-minute candle since we are closer to the start of the session here. So we got a nice solid 15-minute candle here, bullish. Okay. We have a reaction candle maybe that came in and is trying to continue the momentum to the upside. Right. So we got a nice, I'm just kind of looking at these volume delta bars to see if they're aligned. So this delta bar and this bar doesn't seem to be aligned to me, right? Bearish price action, bullish candle, bearish volume, bullish candle, bullish candle, bullish volume. Okay. So I don't know if there's maybe some indication here that there are some buyers, okay, in this market. Okay. Price is above our 9 EMA, above our VWAP. So I would say that the path of least resistance, I think, continues to be to the upside in the gold market. All right. Crude oil. All right. Looking at crude oil, seeing some evidence of buying. I don't know about you. I'm not really convinced, honestly, in this market. Okay. But we are seeing some evidence now with the open and now with this candle potentially closing above this 9 EMA. Maybe there is maybe a rotation of price happening at the moment. I'm really not all that convinced. I need to see price get above the VWAP here before I even entertain anything like that. Right now, as long as price remains below VWAP, I remain of the bearish. I remain of the bearish tone. Okay, and then looking across all the remaining markets here, NQ. Again, seeing a little bit of maybe some indication that maybe we have some buyers present here. We do see that there's a little level of the demand that's been established here just around this VWAP. Okay, looking at this, looking at these candles here, we got a very relatively strong push here from buyers. That not really any sort of follow through at the moment, but the market is still about 7 minutes away. So again, I'm going to continue to my neutral stance on this market. I see that we have 24,940 above us, and we have 24,740 below us. So the question becomes: is this going to hold? Right? Are these levels going to hold? We have the 61.8% extension of this level that looks like is being respected to some degree here. So 24,900, is that going to offer us maybe an opportunity maybe to enter a market to the short side? Right now, the fact that we are at the highest volume node, I'm not interested in participating in either direction of the market. I'm going to wait for price to get to some edge here, whether it's above or below, and then decide from there on which direction I want to take this. Right now, they seem to be content at this 24,850, 845 level, and if they're content, I'm content in sitting the market aside. Okay. Looking at the ES is probably going to tell us similar kind of thing here, but again, just going to take a look here at the volume. Now we are below VWAP. Okay, not below VWAP, below our point of control. Okay, so the question is, we are technically above VWAP at the moment, but a VWAP that's flat. Okay, so again, my view remains, if anything, neutral. If price remains below this point of control, then I would say that maybe there's a leg lower that may be available to us in this market. I'm still, again, rather, I guess, a little bit resistant to the idea of the market just shooting past this area. And I feel like maybe the market is going to be kind of in some sort of range today, some sort of digestion phase, kind of decide on exactly which direction they want to take this market. Okay. So again, my view remains neutral. Okay. We are in the middle of a range. So I'm going to wait for the market to give me some sort of evidence as to which direction they want to take it. We've had Asia kind of neutral on this market. London initially was bullish, and then they sold off. So the question now becomes: are these participants, these sellers that came in around 6,700, are they still in the market? And how soon will they potentially come in to maybe offer us maybe another opportunity to the downside? Okay, that's kind of what I'm seeing in the ES, and then similar story in the Dow. Okay, similar. We're still inside the channel here. Okay, so again, we'll have to wait and see. I'm going to wait. We are above the point of control here, so maybe slightly more bullish in the Dow than maybe some of these other markets. But nonetheless, I'm still wary of this 46,250 level. Okay, but I am seeing maybe that the Dow is a tad more bullish than say these other markets. Okay, so that's kind of what I have for you guys today. So we'll go ahead and close this session as we normally would. I already replied to your message on Discord. Okay, Alejandro, I'll take a look. All right. Yeah. So gold continues to show signs of strength. Maybe an opportunity to the upside is in store here. So that's what I'll be taking a look at here, guys. And yeah, we'll close this session as we close most sessions. Thank you to those who already hit the like button. Thank you, Dirk. I really appreciate that. Okay. As we close all sessions, trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Have an excellent day trading, guys. And we'll talk again tomorrow. Yes. You're welcome, Aslan.